He's did it! He's done it! He has. The bag has advanced to the 4th round of the Smacky Cup. And oh my gosh, this map is beautiful. Smacky Cup round 4, still fog. And this is a tier 4 match. Except Sami is available in this map. And Sami is awful on this map. She's definitely doable to be played, but and Fog Victory March is weaker, and because you have to have vision in order to do anything, and all of your bases start in the corner. Sami gets a lot weaker in that area, and there's no global damage. So the best COs to utilize for this map would be Adder, Cole, and Jess. Between those three, Jess has one of the highest win rates on this map. So, with me typically playing as Jess, and most of my matchups, even tier 1 matches, Loaded Mag has also gone Jess. So, Jess, she is actually fairly strong when it comes to Fog, because Fog, you're going to want ground units and battlecopters. So, while her battlecopters are a bit weaker, it's only by like 10%, and it's like I always say, you need to have a good ground game. You need to have a good ground offensive position or defensive position, depending on how you play with Jess, because she can do both. Because her artillery is just as good as her tanks. So, but you need to have a good ground game in order to do anything when it comes to aerial units. And naval units, they work a bit differently when it comes to that, since they're heavily restricted on where they can go. But all ground units, that is Jess's thing. It's just infantry that she struggles with when it comes to ground, because they also get the -10 penalty to everything. But on this map in particular, it sells a Stillwater version 3. This map is interesting, and like I said, I love this map. And this one, I'm actually not playing as Teal Galaxy. Just because you advance to round 4 doesn't mean you get to steal my country. So I'm playing as Jaded Sun. I'm gonna be on the bottom part. So this map has 3 bases, and it also starts you with a lander. And you also got 1 airport that is tucked away in the corner. And in the opposite corners, you see the comm towers. I've never seen the other 2 maps actually properly sat down and looked at it, but I have seen other versions. I believe the lander used to be a black boat. And because of that, your strong side will be horizontally from your bases. Where now with the lander, your strong side will be vertical going from your bases. You'll be using the lander to transport tanks and artillery, and maybe anything and other ground units, like up onto this one tiny shoal up here. One of these 2. If you're going from this port, you're going to go to this shoal, and if you're going from this port, you're going to go to this shoal. And the reason why I brought up Sammy earlier is because her transports get +1 movement. It doesn't matter what transports they are. Like, even if it's for someone that doesn't specialize in transport infantry, she'll still get the +1 movement. So landers, so even if this lander is right here, it can still go to either port. And that's actually fairly strong. Because if you have this port, then it's going to be within 6 spaces between 2 bases. So you can have 2 tanks going in there simultaneously. But the one base loading the lander is more than enough. Let's go ahead and get started on this. And you only start out with the 3 like properties, so you don't get a whole lot of income right away, but that's the general nature when it comes to these types of maps. But look at all of the cities that are on this map. Kendall would have a field day with this. So, first thing you want to do, you do want to load an infantry into the lander and get it over here, like as soon as possible. Because, as I said before, this is going to be your strong side. And when that's your strong side, you're going to want cities over there to, like, be able to hunker down should your opponent start going after you. And with the comm towers, they might not look like it, but they are in semi-contested areas. Not complete contested, just semi. Just enough to where your opponent can annoy you for a little bit. And typically what you want to do is you want to go for this city first, the one that is directly 2 spaces away from the infantry, then move up in an L shape to get this city, then move right here to get this last city, and then just keep on going on that chain, because this is a 5-city chain right here. Now obviously this infantry alone may not get all of them, because that's 10 turns. Realistically, you're going to have a lot more infantry up here, maybe even like some tanks up there by the time that one infantry gets done capping all of those. And by that point, yeah, your opponent is going to have something over there to harass you. But that's typically what you want to do. And immediately, so I should preface this. This is the first time that both me and Mag have actually played this map. And he starts capping the port immediately. I'm not too big of a fan with it, because usually you want to take cities or properties that are right by your base. You usually want to try to do that. But considering that this port is the only area to where your lander can go to, that port needs to stay open, because you need to keep transporting more troops up there. If there was a shoal anywhere, like if there was a shoal like on the side of this port, then I can see, then that would merit a capture, but there's not. So if there is a shoal by the port, then capture it. But if there isn't, don't capture the port. And he plays our recon, and I see that he has learned like a very, very valuable lesson. I really am sounding like the freaking teacher, and I really need to stop. It sounds like I'm criticizing his gameplay when I'm really not. But he does get that recon, which is very, very good. You always want to get a recon within your matches. One of your first 2 vehicles should be a recon. If it's your 3rd vehicle and that one's the recon, you're building it too late. So, and he starts trying to capture these cities, which this one I agree with, because no matter what, it takes 1 turn to get here. And then if you have a city farther out than the one that's right next to it, 4 bases away from where your infantry is, and you have a city that's 6 bases away, get the one that's 6 bases. Unless you're starting to get to that contested area, which down here, this one infantry, Mag is starting to get close to contested cities. And see, and this is one of the play. This is the reason why I don't like that play. He's forced to stay on the, like, not get on the port, whereas I'm already getting 2 more infantry down there. And our recons are mirrored, which is good. He's got 1 infantry, and I would imagine that he's going to get another infantry. And recon going over here, sitting on this city. This is a good city to block because it does interrupt this chain, and it also gives you vital information of if they're actually going to capture this city or not. Like, you're blind to this one, but you're still able to see it. And I was surprised when I saw this one, because there's no reason why. Because I know even though he goes first, this should be the city that he's captured. The one that he's already captured, that should be the city that he's capturing now. Not the one right here. Obviously, it's too late for me to do anything, but it is far too early for tanks to start coming in, and I do get another recon. I'm going to ship this recon up north. I think it's in vision over there, but it's far too early for a tank to be rolling in. So I know this recon is free to kill this infantry. And tank. So I wonder where this tank will go. Because if the tank is going in the horizontal direction, then this tank should have been built here. Whereas, oh, actually, no. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if the tank is going in the horizontal direction, it should have been built in this base. Because yes, there is a forest, but this will be 2 movement, 3 and 4. Whereas this will 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll still take, because your tank will end up here with this base, but your tank will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But your tank will end up here with this base. So if it's going down here, then build right here. If it's going over here, then build right here. This one will, like this base right next to this area, this one will primarily be infantry. Like if you're going to build infantry, this base will primarily be the infantry build. It just depends on what you need. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but these 6 cities right here, typically these 3, the one that I'm capping right now, typically these are the one that goes to Jade Sun, or I guess the military faction that'll be here will be Purple Lightning. So, but I'm gonna call it the country that I'm playing as. These 3 will typically go to Jade Sun, while these 3 will typically go to Teal Galaxy. It sounds weird saying that. It was weird for me playing this map, or any other map that I play as when I'm not Teal Galaxy. It feels very weird for me. But these 3 will go towards Teal Galaxy, and these 3 will go towards Jade Sun. With everything, like, so as soon as, so this area is mine, but as soon as it reaches this point, it gets inverted, and all of this becomes Teal Galaxy. And this is the point where you see where the comm tower can be like slightly contested, a little bit more contested than the previous match between Javier and Olaf that I commentated about a few days ago. So I'm actually a little bit glad that this is a tier 4 match, because Global Damage will have a field day. Drake will have a field day with this map, because he gets the benefit of that lander along with Global Damage. That's a powerful like enemy there, actually. So he's going. So I do actually like this move that he has done here. He's gone and blocked off the next city that I would take within that area. But since my recon is over here, I know that he's going to build a recon of his own, because he is 2 vehicles in now, and I know that, and one of those vehicles should be a recon. If it's not, then you're doing fog wrong, because the third vehicle too much. If you're Sonya, you can get away with it, but you should have a recon at some point. So I knew that recon will either be on this city or this city, and before I start going and capping, I would want to move my recon. I'm getting a little ahead of myself though, because it's not my turn I should be commentating about. But I do want to point out this force here real quick. So you see that this is 5 infantry right here, and I also have 4 down here. Granted, one just got from the base, and I think this is way too much. And I know exactly where this is from. This is from Mag capturing this port too early in the game, because you want to capture his port like when your lander starts running out of fuel. And even though we're playing as Jess, this lander will start running out of fuel, even if it has the most fuel out of, like, the max fuel limit that you can possibly have in a what you call it, in a unit. So because it has to go through water like all the stinking time, it's 6 movement, and then you have to spend like more fuel for it to stay afloat. So Jess will eventually run out of fuel on there, especially since it takes a little bit for engagements to happen on this map. So, and this is why I think 5 infantry is way too much over here, because you have one of your infantry going over here, and you can even see it on my side where I've already captured this city. And pay attention to what you call it. And viewers, pay attention to our capture like thing stuff, because he may be ahead, but that's gonna change very, very quickly, because this one thing with the lander, like if you mess up the lander once at all, then you're already behind, and you're going to have to play like hell to catch back up. So, and he goes and gets to say this one should already be captured, and then this one should be captured like now. This one should not be captured. Like, this one is too greedy, because you should have gone from here to here to here, and then be a little bit cautious when you get to your 4th city, because I will end up having stuff. And see, right there. Okay, and that tank does go in here, and this tank is sure to follow as well. So, because like I said, with this lander here, you want to make your vertical section your strong side. And I move my recon scouting ahead, and I do see the recon over there. So I go ahead and just move this infantry up here. It's early game, you shouldn't be too worried about your recon placement, because there's not going to be tanks in the field, like in the front lines just yet. This is the point where they're starting to come out. Yeah, and then infantry starting to go forward. Really, you only need like 3 infantry down here. 1 to capture the port, 1 to capture the city, and then another to capture the city past the bases. And 5 is just way too much, especially when 4 of them are doing nothing. Because this infantry will go and capture the city, and this one it should be this one, and this one will come and capture this city. But with the first 2, the 2nd and the 3rd infantry that you get, one of them will go and get this city, and then after that we'll start moving north and start capturing these. And then you have a little bit of a cleanup crew down here, start capturing them. And being very pesky with this, I do like it. And I do like that he wasn't engaging with the infantry that was on the city. Now granted, it would mess up build order if he does that, because like anything that's damaged on city, it'll be repaired back up, and 200 is a ridiculous, like, It's not horrible, but when infantry is the very first thing that is damaged, it makes it a bit awkward when it comes to build order. Because say that you have a 15k coming in, then and you really need tanks, then on paper, when you get that 1500 in, and assuming you have nothing to begin with, and you get that 15k, you can get in 3 base, 2 tanks, and then 1 infantry. Well, if 1 infantry was on a city and it got wounded and it held back up, suddenly you don't have that 15 anymore. You can't afford that. You can't afford that tank anymore unless you want to base skip, which you can do. It's typically not a good thing to base skip, but if you're absolutely forced, then you're forced to base skip and get those 2 tanks. Whereas, or you can just go down to, say, artillery. So artillery has an interesting role when it comes to fog matches, and I say this with battleships, rockets, and missiles as well. And hell, you can throw pipe runners in the mix as well if you wanted to. They're indirects. They themselves don't need to see their enemy, but as long as because they only have 1 vision, with the exception of missiles, because they have the same vision as recons. They get the full 6 if you're Sonya. And but as long as there's something scouting nearby, the artillery, any indirect, can fire at that point. It's just the missiles are able to self scout. The other ones just need like help in doing so. And there are places where you can do some artillery placement. These pipe scenes right here, they do offer quite a bit of protection, especially if you get on the inside of it. They're plopped down in these cities, and the one city and the missile silo, and that's 30% defense. So if you're like, because like this offers quite a bit of protection, actually. 30% is nothing to sneeze at, especially if they're your properties too. So that is something that you can do. But in order for you to actually do that, I would have to be like, Jade's son would have to be pushing very harshly over here and pushing to a point where they can sit comfortably in order to actually get that artillery. Same thing with Teal Galaxy, except they're going the other way. So these would have to be Teal Galaxies, this would have to be Jade's sons, and that's not how this map works, typically. So, because Jade's son's artillery is going to be over here, Teal Galaxy's artillery is going to be over here, and this isn't an artillery map. It really isn't. There's not a lot of places to where you can use artillery. Rockets, on the other hand, is a bit of a different story, and we'll get to that later. So, knowing full well that this recon is here because, well, my recon can still see it, and knowing full well that this recon can see both of these cities, I'm going to make him choose which one, while also getting the comm tower and the city down south while moving some tanks. So this tank, it can cover this one, it cannot cover that, sadly. So, however, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know what I don't have and what I do have, is the thing. But, rule of thumb, if you know that your opponent is somewhat mirroring you when it comes to vehicles, and you know that you just transferred 2 tanks over, expect your opponent to also have just transferred 2 tanks over. Don't psych yourself out and think that there's actually a tank hidden in this forest or anything, which it would actually cover both of these infantry. Don't psych yourself out on that. So, because, like, as I said before, the vertical segments will become the strong points. They should be, at least. And I even mentioned something about, and I even base skip here because I want these 2 tanks. I do. I want the 2 tanks. And actually, I think you're getting ready to see exactly what I'm talking about. Well, no, you're not. You're not. That's not my city. And he actually did pick the correct city for this one. So if there's 2 properties being captured that you can see, and one of them is in the semi-contested areas, and one is actually in the contested area, go for the contested area. So these cities are on my side, but they're a little bit harder for me to get because I have to go for a lander. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, and it takes me 2 turns to get to this one, assuming my infantry is right here. If it's right here, then it takes an additional turn. Yeah, it takes 1 additional turn to do that. So go for the one that, is actually like a contested property, not the ones that are on my side, which you did. Like Mag has done that beautifully. And I don't like this move in particular because he knows that there is a recon down here, and he is showing like his hand a slight bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I didn't see this tank, but this tank is well within my vision, is the thing. And he doesn't see this tank though, but he knows the recon is there. Yeah, this is a little bit, this is too much infantry over here. Yeah, so on this area, you definitely don't want to like abandon this side just for, yeah, you definitely don't want to leave this side just infantry. You do want to reinforce it with vehicles at some point. So a transport copter. So transport copters are a little bit interesting on this map because like they can only transfer foot soldiers, and Sami would definitely appreciate that transport copter very, very much. Maybe even Grim as well, because he's also available on this. Like 90% mechs are terrifying to go up against. Like even on retaliation, they suck. Like getting that retaliated fire, unless like you have to knock them out right then and there. But Sami mechs are even more terrifying because they get that movement power, and with Sami having +1 on her transports, she can get those mechs to the front lines a little bit quicker than all the other COs, like in the tier match. And I do like the anti-air play. I do. Like I genuinely do like it. And this is a map to where battlecopters can be pretty viable actually. So right now it's 17-19, and he is capping one city right here that I'm not going to be able to do anything about, and it's his city anyway. I shouldn't be capping it. But look at the cities that he has captured. So he's captured the port. I have not captured a port. He's captured this city. I have not captured this city. And I have my comp tower. And I'm a little surprised to see that he also has not captured his comp tower, because this is actually fairly close to the drop-off point, because your infantry will be here, and then it's just 3 turns away. So it's fairly close. And once again, doing it to a point where I'm making him choose which one. Because with this, he only knocked it down to 5. And as long as your infantry is knocked down to 5, you can still threaten to capture that city the next turn. You're more than capable of doing that. However, I'm doing it to this one as well. And he does have 2 tanks in the area, along with this infantry that can go down here. But this infantry would much rather be capping one of these two cities. This one, like in particular, because it's outside of my vision, and it will be outside my vision for a while. Yep, the one tank. So, but he uses the recon to do that, and I do not like that at all. That recon should have left. So only do stuff with recons if you know your recon is going to survive. And you're going to see what I mean about that here in a second. And using the transport copter to ferry infantry down here, which once again, you have more than enough infantry. Then 3 coming out from this area is more than enough to capture everything, because you should already have like some of this stuff captured already with the infantry you ferried down here. But because you went and captured a port, you're behind on the capture game, and that's actually hurting you a lot right now, especially when Mag went and bought the artillery, which you have to have time to actually properly set up. So, and he bought a battlecopter, which that's actually very good. I don't have anti-air up yet, and that's a bit of a problem. The only thing about battlecopters is they do take a little bit to actually get to the area. It takes 3 turns for them to actually be able to get to, like, away from the ocean. And I can see in my area, he's going for 2 of the cities right here. And I know exactly want that, but first I'm more concerned about this recon down here, because I know there was a recon down here. It flat out killed an infantry. So, and I know that there wasn't anything, like, I knew there was an infantry here. I knew that there was a tank. Well, I don't know about the tank, but I knew about the infantry placement and the recon placement. And with it still being early game, that's all the information I need to know. That is all that's there. Or that'll be able to stop my tank from rolling in. But first, I do get that vision to see if I can get a city strike, and sadly, I can't. I sadly can't get a city strike. So, but first, I capture all the cities and slowly start inching my way forward. And just to reassure myself, I'm going to plant this infantry right in front of his and see if there's anything up here. Now, this is going to be a bit of a risky gamble because I don't see if there's anything on the road. And if there is something on the road, then I will get punished heavily. But luckily there wasn't. And I get to knock out his recon. Recon in standard game is not going to be that big of a deal. It's just a recon. But destroying a recon in fog is highly dangerous for you. Not for the one that destroyed it. No, it's very, very good for them. But it's dangerous losing a recon because that is all of your vision gone. Like, I neglected to say it, but this map only has 2 mountains. Like, not 2 mountains, but this map only has 4 mountains. And they're nowhere near the areas to where you would want them. So they're not going to be offering any assistance when it comes to vision, like, at all. So I'm just slowly going to get my tanks in place because I see that he has 2 tanks because thanks to where I have my recon. And if I didn't have the recon there, I would see it with the tank anyway. But this is why I said that this artillery was a bit of a somewhat bit of a misplay. Because imagine if this was a tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get a nice little city strike. So instead of the 2 tanks, this will be a 3v2 with the tanks. And I'm not talking about this tank. I'm talking about this tank right here. No, this tank is absolutely getting destroyed. It's not on a city, so Jess will 100% be able to deal with it. But up here, I'm going to go ahead and destroy that infantry. And defeat that one. And knowing that it's day 10, I'm like, okay, I need to get some sort of anti-air. This is ridiculous. He's going to have the battlecopter soon, if not already. And you can see that my lander is starting to run out of fuel. We are getting a little bit of power charge, but not quick enough. This is the point where you want to start getting to port. Especially after you have already ferried over, like, some vehicles. And 1 tank, and then 2 tank, and that thing is dead. Okay, next. I jest. And once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 infantry all on this little peninsula. So this is... God, if I knew that all this was here, like, you are leaving your cities, like, uncontested right now. Because had I known about that, all it takes for me to figure out if it's safe to move over here is just simply moving this recon over. That's all it takes. And you know that there is, and if you know that there is a recon over, don't leave your cities like behind, especially when you're going back to get cities back here. So I know what I said earlier. Don't do any attacking with your recon if you know it's not going to survive. So let's look up a little bit of calcs for a second. Oh, wrong one. A Jess tank with no comm tower versus a Jess recon with a comm tower. Not that the comm tower will do much for me on planes. It's not going to kill. Now had Mag gotten the comm tower, I think there was a slight chance that he would be able to kill it. I'm not entirely too sure about that. I don't know if it'll go up to 100 or not, or if 99 is actually the most that he'll be able to do. But I know that with my kill, I was able to do it because this recon was at 9. And since it's at 9, yeah, 92 to 101. No matter what, that thing is dead. So I knew my tank was going to kill it, especially with the added firepower. Because even without it, it'll be a coin flip for me, and a weighted one at that. Well, weighted against me. So I knew mine was safe to go after. And I also knew that mine was safe to take a strike. And he gets his artillery nice in position. I do like that. Just the conga line down there. If you're going to have a conga line of infantry, it should be going horizontal. It should be. Because, like I said before, this base and this base, these should be the ones that primarily have infantry coming out. You have way too much infantry on this side. Get your infantry over here. So immediately retreat the recon, and I don't have anything to deal with this tank. My tank is a little too far away. Not with turbocharge, but turbocharge is also nowhere near ready. And I'm going to go ahead and take engagement with this tank. And go ahead and deal with this infantry while also capping this city. Because like I said, all it takes is one recon to go and investigate. And if there's nothing over here and you have infantry here, yeah, I'm going to go in. You want to go and take it. The only thing that he has is this one infantry right here, and it will interrupt it, but I only wait one turn. It's just infantry without the comm tower. And I'm going to make him choose, like, a lot. This city I know I'm going to get, and he should absolutely interrupt this. So I know I'm going to get 1,000 right here. I know I'm going to get another 1,000 right here. And this one is up in the air, because this is the actual contest. Because this is the area where it actually starts getting contested. Is this city right here. And this city down here that I'm capping. Down here that I'm going to get. And I'm going to go ahead and reinforce this area. So if he does decide to do this, I'm immediately going to punish. And to make it a little bit more enticing, we're going to wall this up. Quote unquote wall. And yeah, I saw this and I was a bit puzzled. And he finally starts getting the comm tower. And I saw this and I was immediately surprised that he actually has that. And he gets himself trapped on that. So, and he starts capping that. Yeah, I'm going to interrupt that. Yeah, I'm going to interrupt that. And yeah, I'm going to punish the hell out of that. So, and bringing the battlecopter down south. So this is typically where battlecopters will go. They'll typically go vertical on this map. They won't go horizontal. They won't. Because their battlecopters are stronger when you're on the strong side. I guess that's true for every other single unit in the entire game. Even mega tanks that just hilariously kill anything and everything. But battlecopters, they die instantly to anti-air. Even Grit's anti-air will be able to kill like most battlecopters. And he gets minus 20% firepower. But this is Jess. And she's got 10% added to it. She's going to be able to kill anti-air. So, and this is why I say that battlecopters are stronger in the strong side. It's not because they can do like even more damage up there. It's because there's more units to reinforce it. And he bought a black boat. So, and this is the point where, when did he buy the black boat actually? So he bought it turn 11. And I don't know how much I like this black boat. Because I think, personally, I feel as though if you have a lander, that is already more than enough. Especially when the harbors are essentially right by each other. Yeah, I don't like the black boat. I don't. There's a trap. There's the cap. There's the cap. Okay. I think I caught up to where I was. But yeah, I genuinely don't like this black boat. Like, the lander is able to transport just as much as the black boat can. And yeah, it's got more movement, but that's really all it can offer. There's just more movement. It's not going to be able to repair anything. You can get your infantry there quicker while delivering other stuff, but no, I don't like that. Not at all. That was good that he sacked the infantry. That was good. And what does he do with that 8 HP tank? He does take out the recon. Good. Okay. So one of my recons is gone, but he doesn't have a recon at all. He only built the one. So I've said before, you want to build 2 to 3 recons depending on the map. And because if there's something going on 3 fronts, you want to have 1 recon on each front. And since there's 2 fronts going on, the classic strong and weak side, you want to have at least 1 recon like on each side. If it's getting to a point where it's becoming a middle brawl while there's also stuff happening on the corners, then get a 3rd recon at that point. Otherwise, 2 is fine. But I know that this artillery is here because it fired. And I also see it now. But I'm also going to take the time to actually kill this tank. And heavily cripple this artillery. Yes, I am blocking the city from myself. I'm blocking 2 cities for myself, actually. But that is well worth it, in my opinion. Because I would much rather get the defense from the tanks, ensure that the area is safe first, before starting to cap. And what Mag over here is doing, he's skipping that first part and immediately going to capturing. You want to capture while you attack. You don't want to just capture. And if you're just going to attack, then you better not cap at all. Do not capture do not capture cities if you are not attacking on that same front. Because all of your stuff is either going to get interrupted or it will even die. And I wish I was able to interrupt the comm tower. I do wish, because Jess wants that comm tower so badly. And as the match stands, right now, my tanks can kill Mag's tanks while they're on cities. Well, but Mag's tanks can't kill mine. He needs 2 very high good Robux, I believe, if Jess is ever going to kill anything on cities. But we're 23 to 22, which, again, that's not bad. But again, look at what I have captured and look what he has captured. I'm getting more from the port, and I'm also getting another from the city behind the comm tower. He's already got both of them. So, the way that the cities work, there's 27 properties, 1 from each. Neotank alert, by the way. I see that I got the 23. I'm immediately going to go ahead and tech up because I know I can afford it. Once you're able to afford things, once you're able to afford a unit, like a teched up unit, go for it. Because, especially when it comes to fog games, because you want that surprise factor, and that's actually what won me the previous game, is that surprise. But now Mag has once again evened out his forces. I mean, that's actually the reason why he went Jess, actually, which I found pretty funny. And he goes to try and interrupt this, but sadly, he's not going to be able to do that. And takes down this infantry, which I'd rather he pull back on this instance. I'd rather he do that instead of just trying to let me have this. And at this point, you don't know, because this is fog. You don't know what they have, and that is scary. So, and when you see your opponent capturing a neutral city, that does go in your head. Oh, I gotta stop this. Like, I can't let my opponent get any more money than they might be getting right now. I can't let that happen. It's a little bit different if it's an unowned city. Sometimes it's better to let your opponent have that unowned city while you're pulling back and reinforcing yourself. That is better, especially when you're doing this on front that is collapsing, because your only aggressive unit over here, or only unit that's going to be aggressive, is a tank, and your tank is crippled right now, and you already know, and your strong side is already failing as well. Good. And it's failing because look at the amount of infantry like Mag has over here. It is ridiculous just how much infantry is down here. It is way too much. It was 8 over here at one point. Far too much infantry has been delivered on this little peninsula down here. Like, you only need the 3 infantry, and maybe you might even be able to get away with just 2, honestly. But yeah, I genuinely don't have a whole lot to say about this, and this actually made me very, very happy. So, hey, coming in and attacking with the battlecopter. So he did do the surprise factor, but it was against an infantry. Typically, when you want to do surprise factors, you want to do it against something that you know will cripple your opponent a slight bit. So a Neo tank coming in and crushing a tank in one blow, that will actually hurt a lot more than just an infantry dying. So yes, it was an infantry that was capping the city, but I am all for defending your cities. Like, you should defend your cities. You absolutely should. But if it's going to be, again, if it's going to be used as, if you're going to use a battlecopter to do that, make sure that you can fortify that battlecopter after. Like, if you're going to use a battlecopter, make sure that you have units around that specific area to where you can fortify that battlecopter. Because this battlecopter is immediately going to die. And I just see like a wall of infantry. I see 5 infantry over here. I'm like, oh. And this surprised me that we were even talking. It's like, how many infantry you got over here? He's like, a lot. And he does scout out this tank, which is good. Because I'm not going to do anything with this tank. The tanks, like, typically they're not going to want to do a whole lot when it comes to enemy infantry, unless there's literally nothing else to attack. So, and I'm surprised that neither of us have popped any of our powers yet. Until now. So I knew that battlecopter was the thing that knocked me out, but I don't have the vision for it. So using one of the infantry, I went and got vision and went ahead and killed that infantry first because it offended me apparently. Then I got the battlecopter. So typically it's 2 full health tanks from Jess with comm tower that'll deal with like any other tanks, but turbocharge changes that. It will give you an additional 10%. Turbocharge itself will give you additional 10% firepower to all ground units, but with this version of Advanced Wars, you get 10% firepower and 10% defense. So really, you're getting 20% firepower, and that is more than enough for 9 HP tanks to knock it out. And knowing full well that this artillery is here and that it could actually, you know, fire at me, it's only going to be 4 health. I want to get that tank. Never mind. So never mind, I'm going to get the artillery. So in hindsight, it would have been better to actually cripple this tank, because an overdrive tank that gets 30% firepower increase, and then the 10%, so 40% firepower overall, is not going to deal, it's not going to be a whole lot frightening to my tank when I got an extra 10% defense on everything on the turbocharged tank. Overdrive versus turbocharge is actually not that bad. It's very comparable to max force versus turbocharge. It's actually slightly comparable to that. And you already know my stance when it comes to Max versus Jess. I think it's a very fun matchup. So recon is going to come in. That infantry is going to kill that infantry. That one's going to kill that infantry. And all this stuff is starting to... His strong front is collapsing. It's just infantry and 1 tank. His weak side is starting to collapse. And he built another recon, which I do like. you definitely do want to get a recon out there, especially since the one recon that you did have before got killed off. And I finished capturing the port. I'm at 27. So this is the point where I knew that, because there's 54 properties on this map, and each player theoretically should have 27 each if it's an even game. This is the point where I knew that, especially since I know that Mag is capturing the city by his comm tower, I knew that I had some of Mag's cities at this point, because I also know that I haven't captured one of mine yet, and because this tank is sitting right on top of it, and this is actually where one of these infantry will go, or should go at the very least. I don't remember exactly where it is or what happens. And battlecopter, tank infantry, good. And I know what I said about this base should primarily be the one to build infantry if you want to build infantry, but this lander is going in this port next turn, so I do want to get this filled up, because I do actually have a little bit of a plan going forward. And he is capping that city, which that is a good thing, and going up against one of mine. So that was a full health interaction too. Just look at this interaction. So 120% firepower on 0 defense versus 140% firepower. 20 from the 10 from her day-to-day, 10 from the comm tower, 10 from the power, and 10 from the 10-10 bonus, or the power bonus. 140% combined. Mag does 5 to me, and I deal 4 back. That is dangerous for Jess. Well, his Jess. My Jess, I'm sitting pretty. And suddenly I just see all of this. And I'm realizing, oh my god, he got a black boat. Actually, no, I didn't. To be fair, I didn't even realize it. I just saw 3 tanks. I didn't see anything past the tanks. I genuinely did not even see the 2 infantry and the black boat. So, and I think I actually forgot about the transport copter as time progressed. So I just see this, and immediately I know I have to pull back a little bit, because this is supposed to be my weak side, and it should be my weak side. And I want to try to keep, like before, I do want to try to keep this Neo tank a secret, so I kill off this infantry and make some sort of a wall to a point where to where if he wants to do an infantry brawl, he'll be just outside of the vision range. And I'm gonna go kill that tank. Ah! Where's the tank kill? That way I know I'm back online. Alright, there's the tank kill. And I go and start capping one of my properties over there, while making sure that I start getting this one too. And like I said, this 8 HP infantry is gonna put in some work too. And this is actually this may not look like it. This is actually a bit of a bait. Stop it. Yeah, so once again, it may not look like it, but this is a bit of a bait. So Mag has turbocharge ready, and I'm going to be pulling back And I get a second Neo Tank. And Mag hasn't even built anything beyond tanks. So that's actually a little bit scary for him. And I think I forgot about this infantry. I don't know if I saw that infantry, but I put this in the forest and immediately saw the infantry. I was like, oh, hey. I guess you see my tank. So, but he didn't use overdrive. He goes and used turbocharge. So, which is actually good. You do want to try to conserve your power bar a little bit, and it'll have the 20% deficit, but you might end up getting. But if you do like enough engagements with everything but land units or vehicles, then you will get the full benefit of turbocharge. You just won't get just everything else won't get the 1010. And this is when he sees the mega, not the mega tank, the Neo tank. I was like, well, I guess it's not a secret anymore. Let's go, guns a-blazing. And he overextends a little bit. He sees the Neo tank, and I think he had an oh shit moment, which is why he immediately places an infantry here. Luckily, though, I have stuff over here ready for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I even have anti-air ready, which I'm a little surprised he didn't go for the anti-air. And I was actually because anti-air is one of the units that you want to protect. Like recon's the most, then anti-air and battlecopters next. Those are typically the ones that you want to try to keep safe. And Neo tank, Mag's first Neo tank, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, just within range. This is why you need recons. So I saw this happen, and I was like, there's no way he would have been able to see that without a recon being nearby. And from my vision, I know that there's nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was right here. I know it can't be in this forest because it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vision away. I know the recon can't be in this forest. I know it can't be in this one because my infantry is scouting it. I know nothing is in this because this is my side, and I know nothing has gone past my units because I have a wall of vision here. So the only other possible place is this one right by his HQ. And I'm not going to lie, that was a very, and again, I'm not going to lie, that was cost effective because even I did that like before, to where I immediately got his battlecopter. At least I think I did. I don't remember anymore. I'm very tired. It's like 1:40 in the morning after I worked closing shift. So props to him for doing that. However, what he has just done is outed him having a recon. And that's the last thing that you want to do, is out your recon. So first thing I do is I use the infantry to scout it, and then I pop turbocharge. So, and I pop turbocharge because everything else will get a 10% increase in firepower, and I need that firepower in order to deal with a 10% defense infantry. So I break that down here, and this Neo tank is not going to go for this one because I don't know what's beyond this. Because for all I know, it could be a Neo tank. Even though I know that he doesn't have, Mag has, Mag has no way of getting more funds than me at this point, because I hit the threshold of what I would get if this was an even match. And I know I'm ahead because at this point the kill to death ratio is in my favor. And I'm capturing some of his stuff while also getting all of mine. So I know that he's not going to be able to surpass me, but I don't know just by how much I'll be able to surpass him. For all I know, he could have 25, and 25 is more than enough to get a Neo Tank each turn. 28, and I start getting a little bit ballsy. I start going for his property here. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What just happened? Oh, I repaired the tank with the black boat. Yeah, don't underestimate the black boat, actually, because it can do some nice little repairs. And but it can only do one repair, is a thing. And black boats are really handy when it comes to fuel, because they will resupply with it, whatever it is that they're doing. But in a situation when your HQ, keep in mind your HQ has 4 terrain stars on that, 40% defense. It will be very, very hard to knock anything off of it. Even with powers, it'll be difficult to do. If it gets to a point where your opponent is pushing you and your HQ is at the front, it may not be and you actually have a considerable force, like, to match it, at least. Like, if you're falling back behind, don't do what I'm about to say. But if you're able to stand your ground, then consider this. Delete the black boat. Consider it. Don't do it. Consider it. Because the black boat, yes, it does offer a wall to where you can park something behind. You can put indirects behind it, and they can't really do a whole lot until they get rid of this black boat, or they just go around. So if you have indirects, then maybe don't do it. Don't even bother considering it. But if all of it is just tanks or neo tanks and battlecopters that you have, then maybe actually consider it. Because you can have a battlecopter here and then just a regular tank. And I don't think a neo tank will be able to knock it out, even if it's on yeah, because the neo tank with turbocharge won't be able to knock it out. And this is with just having a con tower. And just a regular tank will do 46. And without com tower, yeah, no way. No way. If just popping overdrive, then yes way. You don't even bother with overdrive. So, anyway though, I'll go ahead and knock out this tank and that 6 HP instead, because I don't know what's over here. It could be a lot of stuff. It could also be nothing, and it turns out it was nothing right now, but I don't know that. Move my Congo line, that'll make Sami proud. And I start with the destruction. This tank goes after the anti-air. That recon is going to go in this forest to ensure that this tank cannot interrupt this no matter what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he has a battlecopter, though, is the thing. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I did actually do that because he used a battlecopter to interrupt this, and I killed it. That's right. I remember now. And I just flat out killed the recon. And I split my anti-air up, so if a battlecopter decides to go up here, I got one down here, and I got one down here for anti-air. You don't want your anti-air to be bunched up together like that. If it's in the middle, then there is a chance that they can meet up like that. But if they're together on one side, one of them needs to go on the other. And you are not misseeing what you're seeing on your screen. I do indeed buy a mega tank. I have plans for this mega tank. I certainly have more than enough money for it. Because my weak side is actually starting to look like my strong side all of a sudden. And I don't like that. Like, a sudden shift can change things a lot. And nice little, because this was a 7 HP tank after this interaction, and this it turned into 8 HP. That was a nice little, that was nice that happened. I do like that interaction a lot. And I'm just gonna go to the next turn. Okay. So that was devastating. So he ferried over his Neo tank, and this Neo tank is actually armed and ready to strike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Especially when there's a well, armed and ready to strike, so long as there's a turbocharge, and he will get the turbocharge actually. However, you may have noticed that I got his city for free. Now, granted, there's only 3 units here, 4 if you count the battlecopter. Granted that there isn't a whole lot of units here to actually deal with this, but if there are units to do, then, and you know I'm going to get both of these cities. This city, like the one that is owned, should be the thing that you defend, like no matter what. So, and I will give this a pass because this battlecopter, yes, it can go and interrupt this, but I do have a contingency for that with the anti-air, and he has been punished by that before in this same game. And with the tank, he already knows I have 1 here, and he sees the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he does see this tank right here. So, and it would not shock him, like if I had anything else, because anti-air is actually very good at picking off like tanks when they're at like 4 HP and less, depending on the character. So don't sleep on anti-air. They are mean, like little buggers when it comes to tanks. Right. So I get both of those properties to mind. 31 to 23, and I'm 4K over like what I should be having, and I already know that. Like with the kill to death ratio on this, I already know that I'm ahead at this point. The entire reason why I bought the mega tank. Like if there was ever a devastating push that Mag should do, it should be now, because I invested 28K into 1 unit. But I'm going to get rid of the infantry up north so they can't do any more scouting. I'm going to avoid this forest because reasons. So he could have something in there, and I don't want to move this. I don't want to move this infantry. I don't know why I don't want to move it. I obviously had something planned for it. I just don't remember. Either that or like I was too tired to realize that these 2 tanks can also see this 1 tank. So I just do the, yeah. And go ahead and bring my battlecopter up. And 1 tank. And like I said, anti-air can scrap. Like, anti-air is very good at scrapping. And I buy some rockets. So this is what, so I mentioned it earlier, and that artillery isn't exactly great on this map. Rockets is a bit of a different story when it comes to fog. So in fog, artillery is about the same as standard versus fog, but rockets, on the other hand, they are very, very strong when it comes to this map on fog. So, and it's all because of this base in particular. So there are 2 forest tiles, 1 5 spaces away and 1 4 spaces away. And is that like, and my recon is sitting right on it. So you can definitely have, so this forest tile is very, very strong for recon units because you get to see what your opponent is building on that base, and there's nothing that they can do for it for a very, very long time if there's nothing nearby. And it's also very, very strong for rockets, because rockets, they can strike at distances 3 tiles to 5 tiles away, 3 to 6 if you're Grit, or Jake with his power. We're not even going to get to snipe attack and super snipe. We're not even going to get to that. Don't bother. But this will be considered a base lock at this point. And yeah, you can do the same with artillery and these 4, well, actually these 5 tiles. But typically when it comes to artillery and rockets, when it comes to base locks, what will happen is your opponent will realize that they're in a base lock and only build only build infantry in that base and pull their funds into the other 2 bases or even their airport at that point, and wait until, and there's always a wait and like function, because artillery and rockets only have so much ammo. Jess doesn't have to worry about that. She is I said it before, but she is the one CO in the entire franchise that can just keep going. Like and a ditto between, like a Jess ditto, like if they're like, and if they both hit the unit cap and they just get their powers over and over and over again, this is the one matchup in the entire game that can, on paper, go on forever. Because if they're even the entire time and they get their powers, like turbocharge, like fairly easily, and still keep the unit count even, that game can literally go on forever. Because think about it, their ammo will get resupplied, their fuel will get resupplied, so any of their aerial units and naval units, like, they don't have to worry about fuel. Like, it is rare to see, like, very, very rare to see a flashing fuel sign on any of Jess's units. Like, even with Drake, like, you're not going to see it that much. You'll see it more when it comes to Drake, but even then, it's not by much. You'll see like 1, maybe 2 units with flashing fuel signs. That's it in that entire game. Like, and then, but low ammo shots like the mega tanks and anything else like that, like mechs, like, they will get all their ammo back, and they can only carry 3 shots at the same time, well, at once, and they will immediately get every single bit of it back, allowing them to continue hitting hard. Like, this match can go on forever, like, if both players play perfect. And my Neotank is on City, so I don't really care what happens. And I know this could potentially bite me in the butt, because I am, like, within loading space of the lander. Typically no. Like, I'm not within space, but with turbocharge, I am. So I'll go ahead and bring my second Neotank up. So he knows that I have 1 Neotank, and his answer is his own Neotank, actually. And I do like that. I do like that he has his own Neotank. He's behind. He knows that. And he knows that he has to make some incredible plays. So both Lander and the Black Boat going up against some more units, and he immediately goes for turbocharge. And This time he does attack while capping. However, I do have criticisms about this one as well, and I'll get to him here in a moment. So first he comes in with the Battlecopter, which is 110% now. And 9 HP Neotank taking 2 HP off of the Battlecopter. That's nuts, actually. That's actually really funny. I laughed when I saw that. Like, the Neotank was winning that engagement. But Neotank comes in and 3 HP. Tank comes in and just barely doesn't get it. So my Neotank is still alive, but that doesn't stop him from going and getting other stuff. So the anti-air is crippled now, and he killed one of my tanks. And this is a devastating push. It is. 100% absolutely is a devastating push. And because, like I said, this is his strong side. So he needs to start pushing on this. And he does build a Dino tank, which I do see because of the recon. And I also have my own stuff. And I go ahead and scoot this to the side a little bit. And before I pop turbocharge, I want this infantry gone. Because this one infantry is blocking my way to this Neotank. So infantry that was where? So this infantry is going to come down here. This infantry is going to go right here. And this infantry is going to go right here. And together with all three of those, even against an infantry that is 40% defense, 30 from terrain stars and 10 from the power, that is more than enough to take on that infantry. And I go ahead and start capping up north as well. And turbocharge. I go ahead and scout. I go ahead and take a blind leap of faith here, I'll admit. And go ahead and start getting this tank down. And once again, anti-air can scrap. Don't hesitate on anti-air. And I got 2 of his cities, like, being captured. Make that 3, actually. Like, 2 of them being the next turn, and this one being 3 turns. And I go ahead and ferry the Mega Tank. I didn't wait for the rocket. The poor rocket. And I move my Conga line. That would make Sami proud. Go ahead and start moving my tanks up a bit. And remember when I said that you want to have a surprise factor with big units? I think this is the big surprise factor. So Neotank brought down to 2, and then if he killed that one Neotank, then oh boy, he would have been able to pull that back up and reinforce the hell out of everything. But, well, maybe not. This Battlecopter can go and get a few stuff. But that effectively just ended his push down there. Because I have more than enough infantry to deal with his, and then this Neotank can go and mop up all the other tanks. So he has a Battlecopter. I don't really care. And I go ahead and build a second rocket as well. I want the rocket. I really want to go up there. And this is why I don't really care. And he goes and tries to take my city down here, which, to be fair, I am taking 3 of his. But no. And then he goes ahead and to resign. So, because I got a 10k lead on him in terms of funds. And as you're seeing on the result screen, I did kill 30 of his units compared to his 15. What's the yeah. So I did have a loss when it comes to the Neo Tank, but that Neo Tank stuck around until the very, very end. It didn't die until until Mag's Neo Tank died. And what? Server maintenance? No! Server maintenance? Why? How could you? God. I'm gonna ramble on for the next 47 minutes because this freaking server maintenance. Oh my god. It really is 2 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? My god, why am I doing all this at 2 o'clock in the morning? Someone stop me. Like, seriously. There are so many times better than doing this in 2 in the morning because I know for a fact that server maintenance always starts at 2 in the morning, and that should be a time that's like, hey, any last moments, then you need to do it now, because once it turns like 2 a.m. or I guess 2:03 a.m. because you can't do anything at 2 a.m. straight. Freaking Advanced Wars by Web. Why do you have to do this when I'm recording this one match? Like, seriously, why? Do you have anything better to do? And goodbye. It's been 10 minutes. I'm watching Mario Odyssey hide and seek. So, I did not like the Black Boat purchase. I genuinely did not like it. And I do think that, well, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. My poor Mega Tank is just alone out there. At least the Lander's keeping it company. But I will say that if the map is providing a Lander, stick with the Lander. Don't bother buying a Black Boat. It's not going to be a good investment. Don't capture your port like right then and there, because that will put you behind tremendously if you do that. So, because you want to keep ferrying infantry, and I've said in the beginning of the match, if there was a shoal like beside that area where the port isn't the only place to where that Lander can go on that same turn, then you can capture the port. But if that port is the only thing there, hold off on capturing it. Wait until you absolutely have to capture that port. The infantry on the peninsula, that was a big problem. Like, huge, humongous problem. Like, it was already way too much when there was 5 infantry here. And then just adding more and more infantry down there. These infantry are not going to do a single thing to me when they're in that peninsula. They should be out there, like, capturing other cities. They should be out there capturing your cities. So, because I got my 27 quickly, and not even all of them were mine. That's the thing. Like, I got my half of the properties before I even captured all of mine, and I guarantee you that isn't solely because of bad capturing. That is because of that land capturing that port, like, beginning of the game, where you only transferred the 1 infantry. And yes, I'm saying this full well, saying that, like, knowing that I am the one that has the 2nd infantry, I'm saying that full well. But you go to Mag moves first. So that infantry, because I believe that infantry I do start with isn't even on that base. Yeah, it's on the bottom base. So because, like, my infantry is down here, it's not going to do anything with that Lander. It's going to go down over here. It's going to capture this airport and then go back up. So Mag has priority over everything that happens over here. I should not be having the priority that happens over here. Because when I get priority, because when your 2nd player gets priority and they start capturing all of this faster than the 1st person can capture over here, that's a problem. That is a big issue. And overdoing it with the infantry on this peninsula, and this is actually the exact reason why Sami is not good on this map. that corner base, like all that infantry has to march down that peninsula or march down that horizontal area while filling in the middle. But if you're facing off against Jess, like you're facing off against Jess, you're facing off against Adder, and you're facing off against Cole, all three of them have movement-based powers. Oh, throw Jake in there as well, because he's also got movement-based powers with his ground units. Those four have movement-based powers, and Fog, that's actually pretty freaking powerful. Sami, she does have movement-based abilities, but it's only for her infantry and mechs, and they're not going to do a whole lot by themselves. They need vehicles in order to, especially in Fog, they need vehicles. And when you're forcing vehicles, that's not Sami's specialty. And with indirects not being very strong on this map, because realistically, you're not going to see rockets. You're realistically not going to see them. And you're not going to see a mega tank either. Sami does have strong options. She is able to do shenanigans with the lander to where it can get to both ports. And she can even go a step further and go right here where this mega tank is from this shoal. And that's one step closer. And one step closer, like from an unloading dock, that's actually fairly good. This is a map where Jess, like, it's actually very, very good. And only Adder, like, I can see Adder being a strong pick as well with his movement-based properties. And because of that, I can also see Cole being good, because he's got the same power meter when it comes to, like, value-wise. It's just his power and super is flipped, like, compared to Adder's. Honestly, the main complaint is just capturing the port too quickly, having way too much infantry on that one side when there should only be 3 at max down coming out from that bridge. The transport copter was just unneeded. Like, you did not need a transport copter. You did not need a black boat. So that's 1,200k gone. Actually, I think 1,200 or 12,500 actually. Yeah, because black boats are 7,500. So 12,500 is just gone to transports that did not, that in the end did not do a whole lot. And the capture order in the very beginning, going for the city that has the weighted tank on it, and then this city, I didn't like that either. So he should, Max should have gone for the city that infantry is surrounding, and then going for the tank city, and then if it's open, go for the next city. But by that point, the second player should have a recon over there, and if you're the first person, you are going to get that third city. You should get that third city, while you'll be denying the third city from your opponent. At least I think you'll get that third city. Hang on. I'm actually going to double check myself on this. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get that third city. But this is offering up your infantry for a free kill. And that's not good, because you do not want to lose the infantry in the beginning. That's very big, honestly. It may not look big, losing an infantry, but think of it this way. Your infantry is your economy. And if you don't have infantry, then you're losing out on your economy. Whereas your opponent, they will have infantry, and they're going to get more and more economy going, because they are the only ones that, well, them and mechs, they are the only ones that can capture cities. And with your opponent capturing all the other cities and eventually moving on to your cities, it doesn't matter how much like stuff you get, because your opponent will eventually out-tech you. And when your opponent out-techs you and you can't counter that, you're done. There's no playing around that. Medium tanks you can play around. You can play around medium tanks. Like depending on CO, if you're playing against Grim, then you can avoid that medium tank. If you're playing up against Adder or Jess or Cole, then it's you're basically playing tag at that point. You're not playing hide and seek like you would with Grim. You're playing tag. Because they're going to be it for a little bit, but as soon as they're it, well, they get you, you're it. Oh no, recons. I do think that the recons were not played very well in this map. We're coming from Mag. Yeah, because I did not like this recon over here. I didn't. This recon should have gone into the woods or on the city, whichever. It does not matter. Woods or city. It should have pulled back. This recon should not have attacked. You didn't lose the infantry, but you ended up losing the recon. And that is big. You don't want to lose your recons. Recons and fog are the one unit you want to protect the most, no matter what, because that is your vision. If you can't see what's going on, then you can't attack them, because at that point you'll have to use your tanks to start scouting, and you do not want to use your tanks as scouts. You don't want to use your battlecopters as scouts. You want to use your recons. And the second recon, I don't know how to feel about this recon, because yes, it did allow you to do quite a bit. It did allow you to get a battlecopter kill. Because Mag was able to get battlecopter kill, I won't say it's completely bad, but I also knew that there was a recon there just because of that battlecopter kill. Because I knew that there wasn't a way for Mag to see that battlecopter unless if there was a recon. And I've already gone over it before. I know that there wasn't a recon in the north. I know there wasn't a recon in the... I knew there wasn't a recon here. I knew that there wasn't a recon here. I knew that there wasn't a recon in these two forests. So the only possible place a recon can be is right next to his buck boot. And all it takes is just one infantry to go and scout it. That's it. Just one infantry. Keep your recons protected, and if there's nothing over there, yes, I agree, you should get stuff over there, but don't rush them in like that, because otherwise the force that's there, it'll just swallow them whole. Like they will converge into the amalgamate. Where's them? I'm coming with a horrible. This is a horrible analogy. My God. But yeah, just don't do that. Don't listen to my analogies. They're awful. But yeah, so recons, like, I get that you're typically not going to buy them in standard play, but if you're going to be doing fog, get used to them. That's really all I can say about that. Just be cautious when it comes to recons. Like, this is the one unit where I'd say that being overly cautious will be a good thing, because you do want to keep them alive until you have like a good force to back them up. If you don't have a force to back them up, that recon needs to get out of there, because you don't want to waste your time in the late game building more recons, especially when you know that you're behind. Because as soon as you buy recons, that is a tank you won't have. And the less tanks you have when you're behind, then the less likely that you're going to be able to come back from that loss, that deficit that you're in. But I think this time, that's all I have to say. I don't believe I have anything else to say. So, just remember that artillery isn't the best on this map. And if you are ahead and you're able to keep both of your forces together, to a point where, like, even if the nasty surprise comes in, like a second Neo tank, and you are able to hold your own, definitely try to, like, and do this only if your force is, like, going well past your opponent's HQ. Try to sneak a rocket over there. Like, it's not a good thing if, like, I only did this because I knew I was severely ahead. Do those type of plays when you're in a very, very comfortable position. You can deal with everything that your opponent may throw at you, and you know that your line is going to hold. Try the rocket at that point. Get that rocket across onto the transport it onto the shoal where the mega tank is at, and then slowly start getting it to this forest. Like these two forests in particular. Don't put it in this forest, because it may be just as far away as this one is from the base, but your opponents will be able to see it. So unless you have a mega tank sitting right here, don't do a single thing with this, because all it takes is one battlecopter. Now, granted, they're going to be building bombers, but you want that rocket to be able to get its worth in.